right, anyway, so on Friday, March the 24th, they decided again, as they do every week, to present SmackDown, and we were there to cover it, Brian. And
well, when you say we were there, we were home watching TV.
yeah, right there watching that TV show. They're ready to cover that TV show. Nobody thinks we were actually on the premises. That would require travel. Where were they? They were in Las Vegas or someplace, weren't they?
Yeah, it was Las Vegas or someplace. I think it may have been Vegas.
Could have been Reno, Lake Tahoe, down there in Laughlin, somewhere out in Nevada. Anyway, the opening match, and again, it doesn't surprise me that Cody couldn't fit in the environment that he was previously in, because everything that we rant and rave about, it was summarized on how to not do those egregiously dumb things happen in the first 30 minutes of this program. With Cody's match from the Imperium, old Kaiser Wilhelm, and he had his partner Marcel Marceau in his corner. But this is a string now. Every time that Cody has wrestled, he knows how to pick his opponents. Even a shush boy, yes, the gimmick's horrible, but what an athlete if he hadn't been ruined. But for that, to get Cody over, to do Cody stuff, athletic, solid workers that are not going to, be too clumsy or to take his stuff, or going to be easy enough to move around and stay with his pace and not slow him down, and etc. And he knows how to get time without demonstrating to the fans that he can't beat the other guy for 20 minutes with everything, every fucking piece of knowledge, every move, every strike that he has in his repertoire. It still takes him 20 minutes to beat a middle card guy. No, he structures his match. It makes sense. There's distractions. There's a heel outside. Then Paul comes out to watch, to scout. And, he mixes his matches up where he gives them some wrestling, some spots, a little fighting on the floor, but he doesn't bury the referee, stand there with Pete in hand while they're out there for 2 minutes. He takes them up and down. He sells for the fucking guy in reasonable fashion, but stays alive at the same time. As he's starting a little comeback because they're going long, Solo is out, which is a distraction. And old Kaiser's chop block clip to Cody's leg from behind was not exactly the fucking glory days of Ric Flair. I don't know if he's afraid he'd fucking break him like a toothpick or what, but he was very careful. Do something else if you can't do that. But then they go through another break and they come back. Cody makes a big comeback, finally hits the Cody cutter, and his finish, the crossroads, that he had tried to get into twice before, but had been foiled before he did it. So the guy never actually kicked out of it. But third time he tries it, he hits it. Boom, 1, 2, 3. He won decisively, and there were reasons that it took him 15 minutes to beat this guy. But at the same time, he gets over, and it gives them their programming. And it was a good match that you could enjoy and understand what the fuck was going on. Everything that we rant and rave about on the other channel with their main event guys going 20 minutes with fucking Action Andretti or whatever out of the blue, but that it takes them sledgehammers and roofing nails and goddamn, anthrax and everything else to beat somebody you might never see again. Do you understand what I'm saying, Brian Last?
I understand what you're saying. I didn't think I was the problem.
The people. Do the people.
These people?
Any people. Any people. Do the people understand anymore what's going on?
Some people do, some people don't. Some people don't need to understand. They need to just sit back and watch. And what you said earlier is true. Cody's been used better here than he ever was in AEW. And Part of the problem is AEW itself. Cody wasn't as nice as CM Punk. He took the very nice diplomatic way out. But the other problem was Cody wasn't prepared to be completely in charge of Cody, and Tony Khan wasn't going to be a good filter the way whoever, Vince, Paul, anyone over there would be. Or the other Paul in WWE. So I think we're seeing I've said it the last several weeks, we've seen the best of Cody. We're seeing good matches. Well, maybe for me a little bit too much now of I don't know what you call it, the jump on the rope and jump backwards into anything. Just the Cody cutter or this
well,
cutter.
I mean, yeah, we're grading on a curve because that might not have flown in one era where, again, everybody didn't just stand there. But at this point, he's doing it well and hitting it smooth. So I guess, we do have to go somewhere into the future.
And his promos are the best of his career right now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, everything's kind of working out perfectly. It's amazing that, if he comes out of WrestleMania, as so many think he will, as the WWE Universal Champion or World Champion, whatever they call it at that point, the story of him leaving to start AEW and then coming back and winning the title is an incredible story.
And remember, I said earlier in this marathon program we've done, he looks great also physically. He's taking this seriously. He knows that, to be honest, he was always in shape. I'm not saying he was, fucking slacking off, but he was not a, Mr. Universe candidate. Even, year and a half ago or two before the injury, he's really taken the training and the rehab seriously, and he's got a tan, and he's, he looks good because he knows that's part of the part in the movie that he's playing right now, the starring role, rather than whatever it was over there at Community Theater.
Yeah, if you want someone to be in shape, have someone who's really motivated coming off rehab because they've been training their ass off, and then they're just going to be ready to keep pumping that up through WrestleMania.
Actually, we should say physical therapy rather than physical rehabilitation.
Yeah.
Well, that's what one time I'm at Vince's house I can't even remember who the individual was, but it was somebody was hurt, and we're at writing day, right? And, so Vince says something about, okay, well, we need to make sure to do a package there. They've been in rehab. And I said, what? Wait a minute now, Vince. I said, these days, that has more than one meaning. Shouldn't we say physical rehabilitation or physical therapy rather than just rehab? And good point, pal.
Yeah, you're the one who started him on that trend of just changing everything to, should we call it hospital? Is it an old term?
I never
it's
said
you. It was all you.
No, I said we should be more specific rather than vaguer. See, I was going in the other direction. He was going to the vague and the tenuous. I'm going to the clear and the more detailed instead of the opaque. All right. Anyway, speaking of opaque, so after that match, that's when Paul's already out there, Solo's already out there, and Cody, Jesus, his cardio also. I think I saw something on the internet about him doing an interview somewhere where he said he's really been doing cardio like a beast to get his, during his rehab.
Running from Brandy's cooking.
Well, there you go, around the kitchen. But after that match, to be able to stand there and not be heaving and participate in the promo without, really being blown up, that was pretty impressive also. But Paul cut a promo on him on himself in WrestleMania, and they revealed it this Monday on Raw. Cody will face Solo, so they've been kind of teasing that. And if he makes it through that, then Roman Reigns is going to be here next Friday night on SmackDown, one night before the start of WrestleMania fucking day. Is it not WrestleMania weekend?
I guess that is the official start of WrestleMania weekend, right? It's the Hall of Fame after SmackDown.
Well, yeah, there you go. Now, is that on? That's not on Fox.
No, it can't be.
So it's going to be on Peacock?
I assume. I like when you say peacock as a question. It's kind of
Peacock?
Funny. Peacock?
Yeah, peacock.
It sounds like a peacock.
Is it on Peacock? Peacock?
I believe it'll be there.
Yes. Bitch, it lives about 3 or 4 houses down from me. Has a goddamn rooster now, I'll have you know. Because every day I go out in the garage and open up the garage door, take Harley out or whatever, and I hear that goddamn rooster crowing, and I can tell the direction it's coming from. It's one of two properties. Would be over there raising the cocks.
It's a smart move. You get your property farm assessed.
He doesn't need a pharmacist. He's got a rooster.
Farm assess. Save on your taxes.
How does a pharmacist save you on your taxes? Is he as well as dispensing drugs? Is he also doing income tax returns? I take mine over to H&R Farquhar. They're a good firm over here that I can turn you on to if you want.
All right.
Anyway, so Cody responded to Paul Heyman. He said, no.
Oh.
And Paul said,
"You're lucky you never did this around Vince. That would have been it. We've never had a peacock."
So anyway, Cody responded to Paulie and fired up and got the people behind him and told Paul off. And a good, strong promotion for it's the last Raw before WrestleMania, the 30 minutes into the show, and it's all been promotion for the main event. So excellent broadcast so far. Any comments on the interview?
Really liked it. I'm starting to really dig Solo. You know, at first when he came up and when we saw him in NXT, I don't know why he appeared younger. Now he looks I buy him a little more as the badass of the family or the ruffian of the family. I don't know what exactly. They're all
the ruffian.
I don't know what he's there and he's tough and I buy it. And I think he's been pretty good the last week because this match they're going to have on Raw, they started last week building up on Raw. So we get a full week out of this.
I've heard that most of the Samoans are just pussycats and teddy bears, but that every once in a while you will find a ruffian.
Do you remember that was Scott Cornish's question years ago? Everyone you talk to says Haku is the sweetest, nicest, most wonderful man in the world. Yet the other stories we hear are that he bites people's noses off and eats their faces. Why do so many people seem to bother this wonderfully nice, sweet man every time he's at the bar?
He went from handing out milk duds to the kids to then he took the man's nose. All right. So anyway, and then I'm a fan of Charlotte's work, but Charlotte came out to do an in-ring promo again last Raw before WrestleMania. She's Smackdown. A 14-time world or Smackdown rather. I'm sorry. Well, and it's not really the last. There's another one, but you know what I was getting on that. I'm just in a time warp. We're getting down to WrestleMania time, so more promotion for WrestleMania, but this is feeling like WWE scripted. You know, I wish they'd every once in a while let her talk from the heart, but when she talks from the heart, she's that wonderful heel. And I don't know. I kind of zoned out. Were you in the zone?
I think Charlotte is great in the ring. Specifically as a heel, I've been pretty vocal. I've not enjoyed, I've not thought this is really well done, her as a babyface here. It feels really forced and...
Remember you shit all over me when she was such a great babyface? I said, because she's in South Carolina that one week. And the people were, yeah, and she had Flair country, and she felt that and got that, and then, but not just as a general rule.
And you know what? The promos have been kind of the biggest problem in the Charlotte Rhea program, even more than Charlotte being maybe miscast as a babyface. Because Rhea did a real stale promo on Raw, and it's coming across as insincere as Charlotte's promos.
Yeah,
although Rhea delivers the material, I think, better.
Well, yeah, she delivers the material better, but it doesn't sound like material that she would say if it was really her. You know, that's the problem is I think they're just writing this shit for these young ladies and they're trying to do a good job of delivering it instead of saying, you know what, how about we be mad about something people might be interested in. But nevertheless, speaking of things that people might be interested in, poor old beleaguered LA Knight, I see him matched up with Rey Mysterio coming up next, and I'm thinking, holy shit, they're going to beat him again. But again, people are, somewhat responding to him, even though that he's been beaten with a stick repeatedly and made to go stand in the corner and had his nose rubbed in shit for whatever reason. But in this case, and of course they went again under 3 minutes. The match gets started and they go under 3 minutes as usual. But Dominic comes out and distracts Mysterio, and LA knocks him off the top rope. We go to the break. We've got some heat going. And that's the thing. Rey likes to sell, because when you look at Rey Mysterio versus El Hijo del Vikingo, Rey Mysterio's got more expression on his face, and he's wearing a mask than the other guy did, showing us his face. Because his body language, he likes to sell, and his body language, and you can feel it, and you can see it in the way that he moves. And in most of his matches, the opponent's always bigger. They get heat on him, and then he plausibly figures out a way to escape or use his quickness or whatever and surprise you and get his few signature moves in that people love to see. But he does big versus little because that's what he's had to do all of his career, and he's got that. And he's got a better physique than Hijo del Vikingo. So again, there's a size difference, but and LA Knight understands himself and how to work, and there's a size difference, but they're making it nobody's going through goddamn tables and doing these 100 and fucking, well, not even 180, 300, not even 360, 720 degree fucking cannonball moves through furniture off of the top rope that both, look spectacular and will lead to your fucking paralyzation, and nobody remembers the goddamn shit a week later. So they had a nice little match. They didn't, this wasn't the main event, as they say, of Starrcade 86, but finally Rey goes for a 619, and Dom trips him coming off the ropes, and as he turns around, LA schoolboys him 1, 2, 3, LA Knight wins! LA Knight wins! And it's Rey Mysterio, for God's sake. Imagine that.
And as much as fans like Rey Mysterio, you could hear a pop when LA Knight got the victory. People actually want him to get a win.
It's like, Cinderella story out of nowhere. So, I mean, before we go any further, what did you think of the match, if anything different?
Really good match. And when you're looking for things outside of the Bloodline Cody angle to enjoy on the show, LA Knight, despite his usage, despite being in matches with people sometimes you don't want to watch, has been one of the highlights of WWE. Nice to see him get a win. Hopefully this means something. That's what I thought coming out of this. Hopefully that's it. Like Austin Theory. For like a year, you and I were like, what the hell is going on? Whose daughter did he sleep with? What is going on here? And then it changed somewhat. Maybe with LA Knight, maybe he's paid his weird WWE dues, whatever you want to call it. And maybe they'll use him to the level that he has already shown that he can go to and the people are reacting to him at. So I saw it as a sign of hope.
Well, then, by cracky, this was coming up because Dominic's out there and again, he's getting all over his dad. And, I haven't, the father-son thing and the weird visual and everything. You've been interested. I'm like, I like Dominic and I like Rey, just not necessarily with each other, but at least, as Mama Cornette used to say, shit or get off the pot. They finally shit and got off the pot. Rey walked off on him again, but this time Rey's wife and his daughter, Dominic's sister, are in the front row. I wish it had been Mother's Day, whereas they just happened to be there. But nevertheless.
Well, they like to gamble. Maybe they were in Vegas to play the slots.
Hey, they're hanging out at the Bunny Ranch for the fucking week.
Hey, come on. Will you be nice?
I'm just kidding. Well, hey, they could be customers.
Well, that's true. That is actually true.
A free fucking country.
Especially out there in Nevada, yeah.
There you go. It's a big wild country out there. So anyway, but finally, Dominic starts cutting a promo on his mother. And how does it feel? You're a deadbeat mom like he's a deadbeat dad. And the sister stands up and gets hot. And Dominic tells it, hey, you're stupid. Shut up, you're stupid. Don't be stupid. And then the mother stands up and grabs the microphone and says, Dominic, and he snatches it right back and gets a pop from that, like, ooh. And he tells his mother to shut up. And then here finally Rey comes back over and winds up and boom, and blisters him and knocks him on his ass. And
big pop.
Huge pop. They've been waiting for that. And grabs the microphone and finally says he will fight him. But the only thing I didn't like was that Dominic stayed on his ass and had his hand up like he was petrified. I would have fucking at least rolled over to your knees, beg a little bit more, but he was just kind of frozen. But he will fight him at WrestleMania. So we'll see what that looks like then.
Oh my God, I love this. This was tremendous. I told you the other day, I love that promo we did where he talked about getting kicked out of the group chat, how unhappy he was. They did a series of videos where him and Rhea would show up at family functions, leading to arrests. Like, they've done so many things to make this guy who, a year ago, we were like, is this guy have a future in wrestling? It doesn't really seem to be working as just a nice little babyface son.
Yeah.
Look at him now. He's the perfect wimp. I mean, we've seen this kind of character in a sense before, like the Stevie Richards or whatever you want to call it, the wimp, underhand.
It's chicken shit heel, basically, at the root of it. That was the wrestling term in the territory days. You're not a monster heel, or you're not a wrestling heel, or, you're like Nick Bockwinkel. You're a chicken shit heel. And you get the heat by being a coward and then being vicious on offense and cheating and lying and etc.
This chicken shit heel who talks about his tough stay in prison was out there, and they shot it perfectly, and the crowd reactions were so good for everything of this. When he called his sister stupid, that was the first one. It's like, ooh. And then when he told his mom to shut up, that's when, like, the crowd was buzzing because they knew that's it. Like, there's no way. Because you see Rey in the distance, and his face is on the big screen. So if you were in the building, Dom wasn't on the big screen. Rey's face watching them was on the big screen. And then Rey comes over. The only thing I thought, and maybe they were scared how it would come out, I didn't think they got a good shot of the punch. You just kind of see behind Dominic and he falls.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of where the camera was at that point. And I think maybe he turned a different way than they'd blocked or whatever. But nevertheless,
how many monster pops have we heard in WWE in the last 2 months?
They've got everything peaking. Everything
it's all working right now.
Is coming up for, and they had patience to not only build this for a while, but continue to sweeten things up every week so you didn't forget about it. And that's, another thing that the other channel, they'll do 3 or 4 weeks worth of shit in one night, and you won't see none of those sumbitches for 6 weeks. So anyway, Rey versus Dominic, and we're going to preview these matches when we get done here because we're almost through this thing. Did you love Shotzi and Natalya against Lacey Evans and Xia Li?
There was no way I was going to watch this. There's just no way.
Did you watch when Ronda and Shayna came out for their promo?
In the background a little bit.
It was as flat as a plate full of piss. It was like they were both cruising on Lake Havasoma. They could just give a shit. Yeah, we sold this place out. Yeah.
One of my kids thought Shayna Baszler was Bayley's like evil sister. Next time you see Shayna Baszler, tell me you don't see it, because now that's all I see.
But wait a minute. That means that Bayley's real name is Bayley Baszler.
Ooh, see, that's good. I didn't even think about that aspect of it. Interesting.
Bayley Baszler. and if she gets in a fight, we could call her Battling Bayley Baszler.
There we go. There's a new gimmick after she's done with the talk show host or whatever this is.
Anyway, they had another contract signing for the Intercontinental title match, the triple threat that they've done with Seamus and Drew and Gunther. And Like I said, I'd love to see Gunther in a match against either one of those guys. Probably Drew at this point, because we just saw Seamus. Give Drew a chance. But I don't want to see the triple threat, and I didn't particularly want to see the goddamn contract signing, and it's muddied the thing. And then Butch jumped on Gunther in the contract signing, and they just went to break.
That was the highlight of the whole thing, was just they actually were consistent with Butch's character of just being, I don't know, he has rabies? I don't know what his thing is, and he just goes crazy. So I like that.
But then they could give him a shot for that or something, or put him down perhaps if he's a danger to others. So it was Gunther and Butch, and they had a match. And then for the finish of it, Seamus and Drew got into a fight on the floor, and Gunther beat Butch with his finish. And then Gunther and Seamus were face to face, and Drew tried to Claymore Seamus, but he moved and he knocked out Gunther instead, and then blah, blah, blah.
Where was his sword?
Hopefully they don't bring that back. Remember when that fucking thing was exposed to be fake? When they did the fucking
you mean
thing
day one?
Well, but I mean especially bad when they did the thing with the ropes and the ropes didn't work. And Anyway, now we come to the main event of SmackDown. And boy, this is going to be a big match. Oh, no, wait, it's not a match because it's SmackDown. The KO show with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. And I've loved everything that they've done with this so far. I think this was it was just, as Kevin Sullivan used to say, it was a maintenance angle. Just kind of kept things going and, that we're already going to begin with. And you got 10 minutes out of it to entertain the people. But they basically just bickered about whether they should have come out separate or together, doing their little comedic byplay. And Owens joking about Sami being more over than him. And then they did the thing where they bonded again and exchanged, or didn't exchange, but Owens gave Sami his new gift t-shirt, which wasn't KO Mania, but WrestleZania. And they hugged, and the Usos jumped him and beat Sami up, and Owens managed to chase him off with a chair. So it was kind of like, yeah, we got to get him on and we got to freshen it up, but we don't really need to do anything else. So let's just kind of do something to get us back to where we were. What'd you think?
And again, no Roman on this episode. So they do what they can to kind of fill in that big gap. It was all right. I'm not a big fan of these talk show in the ring, talk shows, whatever you want to call them.
Damn you, Roddy Piper.
His wasn't in the ring.
Darn you. But that's the thing, because he got it over. Now, 40 years later, they think every wrestler in the WWF ought to have a fucking talk show just for no apparent reason.
I don't know what it was. Maybe a little under a year and a half ago, we were talking about, is Kevin Owens going to re-sign with WWE or go to AEW? I think he made the right decision.
Boy, howdy, did he. I'll tell you what. And really, we said at the time he could go and play with his former friends, but for that amount of money that this company that is still going to be the number one company, regardless of whether Tony ever gets his shit together or not, if they were offering him that much, he might be better off sticking around. But I think this, whether or not they are the main event on night one of WrestleMania, the Usos and Kevin and Sami, I mean, it's going to be hard to beat whatever kind of fucking pops they're going to get on that thing, because it's the, extended bloodline angle. And that's what everybody's interested in.
Hey, you're, Sami made me think of something.
Sami?
If you were Sammy Guevara, you think it's a little difficult right now that one of the top stars, if not the biggest babyface in wrestling, is named Sami?
Sammy, I love when you fall down each Saturday night on my TV.
All right, that was about Chevy, but I guess you could apply it to Sami.
It fits. Oh, but Sami, you've got such a slappable face. I wish that you were falling for me.
Well, that was SmackDown.
It sure was.